सरस्वतीं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। नमः पंकजनाभाय नमः ब्रजमालिने नमः पंकजनेत्राय नमस्ते पंकजांग्रये। Begin with our standard मंगलाचरण। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्स्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरौ श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजाता सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादा सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितां नमः। ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन् इति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्वसे नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। करोति वाचालं भंगं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं यत्कृत्यं द्वैपायनो विरहकातर आजुहाव पुत्रेति तन्मयतया सर्वो विनेदुः तं सर्वभूतहृदयं मनिमानतोऽस्मि। यस्यानुभावमखिलश्रुतिसारमेकम् आध्यात्मदीप अतिथिरशतां तमोऽन्धं संसारिणा करुणयाः पुराणगुह्यं तं व्याससूनुपयामि गुरुं मुनीनां। तस्मात् अहं विगतविक्लव ईश्वरस्य सर्वात्मनामहि गृह्णामि यथा मनीषम्। नीचो ययो गुणविसर्ग अनुप्रविष्ट भूयेत। Hare Krishna. So, I welcome all of you for this second session of this unit, the beautiful story which is being concluded in this particular chapter of Narada Vyasa Samvad, which as per my understanding is the principles of essence of Srimad Bhagavatam is there in this particular section, Narada Vyasa Samvad. The seeds of entire Bhagavatam are given to the Ved Vyas to be written. So that's what section is. Towards the last part we are discussing. So last time we began the chapter and completed till verse number 17, right? So before we begin, as we earlier also did, we should glorify Srimad Bhagavatam. So the prayers you are seeing, so I'll sing those prayers, remembering the glory of what we are entering into. Sarva Shastra Piyusha Sarvedeka Satphala Sarva Siddhanta Ratnadhya Sarva Lokaya Drikprada Sarva Bhagavata Prana Srimad Bhagavata Prabhu Pala Udhvanto Dito Ditya Shri Krishna Parivartita Paramanand Pathaya Prema Varsharayate Sarvada Sarvasevaya Shri Krishna Namostume Madek Bandho Matsangin Madguru Matmahadhanah Annistaraka Madbhagyu Madananda Namostute Asadhu Sadhuta Dain Ati Nichochataraka Anamancha Kadachinmam Premna Hritkanthayo Sura Srimad Bhagavata Mahapurana ki jai. Yes. So, yes, last Sunday, I believe, we discussed till verse number 17 about the inquiries by Ved Vyas and answers. There are essentially 4 inquiries. So, and the answers given by Narad Muni. So, he answered about what he did after the Bhaktivedantas left. He just followed their instructions, and then by the grace or the plan of the Lord, his mother left the body because of touching the serpent and getting bitten by him and dying. And then Narada, seeing that as Lord's mercy, he left for north. His travels are mentioned, and his travels not getting affected by anything. He focused attention on the Supreme Lord. He sat in near the lake and meditated on the Lord. Then he saw the form of the Lord, and he experienced great transcendental bliss. His hair stand on end, tears flowing from his eyes, goosebumps on his body. All were extremely pleasing to Narad Muni. But suddenly that same form was withdrawn, or he could not see the form. And he became extremely distressed, actually, wanting to see it. And he tried the same method again, but he could not see. That's how we ended. And then what happens is, we'll continue beginning from verse number, I believe, 70, which verse number? 21st, right? So Lord spoke, seeing his great endeavor, that is 20th verse. Gambhira Slakshanaya Vacha Shuchaha Prashamanyinva. So what did Lord speak? That we begin today. So before beginning, I would like to request some of the devotees, if they want to share some reflections of what they heard in last time, or if they have read something in this section. Yes. Anyone wants to share the reflections, remembrances of the previous Prabhupada statements or anything we discussed? You are most welcome to volunteer. Anyone?
Sadharma Prachaya is told about.
Yeah, so anything from that? Dharma Pracha, that Prabhupada writes. What did we discuss? Little bit, something, essence of it.
The inquiry, one should inquire, even in our personal life, spiritual life, we should inquire about how to advance in spiritual life, how we can develop more and more attachment to the Lord, not just to show to the world, but for our own progress and advancement. We should keep inquiring about the spiritual life and how I can advance more and more in this path.
Yes, very correct. Thank you. Thank you very much, Anand Mahan Prabhu. Actually, Sadharma Pracha is very essential anga. Actually, it's, I think, fifth anga, if I'm not wrong, which has to be done primarily towards spiritual master or spiritual masters. Adav Guru Padashraya, Guru Dikshadi Shikshanam, Vishambhena Guru Seva, Sadhu Atman Vartanam, and Sadharma Pricha. So fifth one. So this Sangha is essential, extremely essential to be inspired, to get in, impetus spiritually in our devotional service. Especially in this context, the inquiry is about personal practice of spiritual master. So these are the most confidential subject matters, actually. If we hear about the stories of the devotees, great devotees or our spiritual masters from their mouth, there is nothing more inspiring than that. So it's a great opportunity if we get to inquire from great devotees about their personal life and their experiences with Krishna. So that is a deep experience. So it's very essential for, being inspired in Krishna consciousness. So yes, thank you, Anand Mohanpo, for that important point. Any other point which you discussed? Anyone wants to say?
Prabhuji, this one thing is like, Narada Muni, he saw the Lord's darshan, and then when the Lord disappeared, he tried the same process again. But the thing is, the Lord's darshan we cannot get by our own endeavor only. Only when the Lord is merciful, he is pleased with us, then only. So that is a very important one.
Yes, very true. So today also same thing will be continuing when Lord will speak. So it's by Lord's mercy, not by any mechanical means, Prabhupada writes, right? We cannot, there is no mechanical process to see the form of the Lord. It depends on the causeless mercy of the Lord. So Bhakti is a path of grace, and whole our practice is to attract that grace. So thank you very much, Ramkishore Prabhu, for that important reflection. Yes, Mataji has raised hand. Please go ahead, Mataji.
Maya is not matter or material objects. It is our perception to see the material object.
Yeah. Shobha Lakshmi Mataji spoke, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. So Maya is not in the object, but it is there in the perception. That's what is defined in Chatushloki Bhagavatam. Today also we'll see that to some extent in one of the purports. If it comes, I think it comes. Yeah. So Maya is there in the vision. It is not there in the object. Yes, very essential part. Yeah. Anything else? Last? Anyone wants to contribute? Last?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu. Madan Mohan Prabhu.
Yes, out of very inquisitive, this Sauna Krushi has asked 3 questions about Parikshit Maharaj and Vasudeva. How this means Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken, where it was spoken, and then what for even Parikshit, what for it was spoken. These all this they are very eager to hear about this Parikshit Maharaj, and this is speaking about Bhagavatam by Sudha Goswami. How Sukadeva Goswami arrived there. All these questions were asked.
So you're giving the full picture of what is happening, right?
They were interested to know in detail so that they can get more and more bliss out of that.
Yeah, they were eager to hear. That's why they are asking these questions. Like how Bhagavatam, what is the history of Bhagavatam? When, where, how, and what inspired Ved Vyas to write Bhagavatam? So that's what the first question. That is answer is there right now. What we are discussing actually. Yeah. And the other 2 questions are about Parikshit Maharaj Janma Karma and his death, apparent death, and Shukdev Goswami and their meeting. So this is the subject matter of entire first canto. So we are discussing the first question in that. So that's what is the content. Yes. So thank you, Madan Mohan. So we'll continue now, going further. So I'll just share the screen. Yeah. 1.6. So text 21. So having experienced the pleasure of seeing Lord, especially three aspects of his experience in his heart, Narada experienced the Saundarya, that is the beauty of the Lord through eyes, the fragrance through the nose, and Sauswarya or Saugandhya through nose and Sauswarya through ears. So these three aspects he experienced and felt great bliss. And he lost that and he tried again. And then he did not get the darshan. But Lord, out of great compassion, seeing his endeavors, yatantam, Lord spoke in a very deep but very pleasing voice. What did Lord speak? That is next 4 verses. Very, very essential verses. Whenever Lord speaks, we should become very attentive actually, because Lord's speech is extremely important for us. It's the object of our every activity. So very important verses which we'll begin discussing now. So Atasmin janmani bhavan mamam drashtum iharhati vipakpakashayanam durdasho aham kuyoginam. Yeah, so please, our systematic reading, we can go on. We can begin with the first devotee.
O Narada, the Lord spoke. I regret that during this lifetime, you will not be able to see me anymore. Those who are incomplete in service and who are not completely free from all material taints can hardly see me.
Yeah. So Hanta, actually Hanta is out of great affection. Like, Hantaya madhya bala haridasa varyo yadrama krishna charana sparasha pramoda ityadi. So this sloka is spoken in Venu Geet by Venu, not Venu Geet, but first 21st chapter actually. Venu Geet only. So Srimati Radharani is glorifying Govardhan, and she is beginning with Hanta. So Hanta is generally a word used in Sanskrit with great affection. So Lord is also Hanta. He is using this word Hanta. O Narada, with great affection. So in English you cannot translate this in what word means. Emotion. Asmin Janmani, during this life, Bhavan Mam Drashtum Arhati. You will not able to see me again. The great bomb on Narada Muni. First is, with great affection he is seeing this, he will not able to see me again. One may ask why? Avipakvakashayanam durdarshoham kuyoginam. So durdarshoham, I am extremely rare, I am extremely difficult to be seen. By whom? Avipakvakashayanam and kuyoginam. So these are the 2 disqualifications for seeing the Lord. So Srila Prabhupada translates that as kuyoginam, to be incomplete in service, and avipakvakashayanam is not completely free from material taints. So avipakva means burnt, but not fully burnt. What is that? Kashaya. Kashaya is the dirt in the heart, material dirt, Prabhupada say. So not fully burnt. So there is some kashaya remaining. So Srila Prabhupada in his purport takes points from Jiva Goswami as well as Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So what is Vipakva Kashayanam, which is there in Narada Muni? Whether it is there or not. So Narada Muni attained Sadhya Bhakti already, right? So how can he have such things? Such question can come, right? And if he has it, then how did he see? So such questions are nicely answered in Prabhupada's purport as well as the Acharya's purport, which Prabhupada has taken. So first, we'll I'll just comment based on what Srila Jiva Goswami says. which Prabhupada quotes in the middle of the purport, which we will read. So he says that avipakva kashayana means not fully burnt effects of three modes. So he has burnt effect of modes of passion and ignorance, which he said in the verse number 28 of the previous chapter. If you see previous chapter, if you have book, please see the 28th verse, 1:5:28. So last line is Bhaktir Pravritta Atma Rajastamopaha. So because of practice of the I became free from the influences of mode of passion and ignorance. So Srila Jiva Goswami says that there was some attachment to mode of sattvic guna. So to stay in forest, etc. That kind of inclination was there in Narada Muni. So Srila Prabhupada also says that. So we'll see that. You can see. Yeah. This someone can read. I have from Jiva Goswami. You can read. JG.
There is no trace of a tinge of materiality in his person, and thus one who has the slightest tinge of material affection cannot approach him. The beginning of devotional service starts from the point when one is freed from at least two forms of material modes, namely the mode of passion and the mode of ignorance.
Directly
Should I
read
continue?
and now. And yeah.
And to be completely freed from all material tinges is to become free from the mode of goodness also. To search the audience of God in a lonely forest is considered to be in the mode of goodness.
Yeah.
One must be
So
completely.
yeah. Yes, bro. Thank you. So here Prabhupada is taking from Jiva Goswami, saying that there were some tinges of sattva guna actions, like staying in forest to be in the mode. So that also one has to be freed from it to actually have audience of Lord. So completely freed, not just kama lobha. Here Prabhupada is telling that we hear that also. No? What is that? Nashta prayasha vadreshu nityam bhagavad seva tirvati tada rajas tamo bhava kama lobhadayasya. So rajas tama bhav manifest in terms of kama and lobha. This has to be, one has to be free from passion and ignorance. But not only that, one has to become free from even mode of goodness also. So that's what is told from Jiva Goswami's commentary. So now going ahead, Prabhupada is telling that one should be completely free from all material attachment and completely situate oneself beyond the three modes. So places like temple are the transcendental places. The places like forest is like a mode of goodness place. That's what 11th canto is being quoted by Srila Prabhupada. Here you can see. Temple of Lord is a transcendental, whereas the foremost materially is a materially good habituation. So the best method is what? To live at a place where transcendental form of Lord is worshipped. So it can be temple, it can be forest where there is some ashram or whatever. So this is the best method, basically. So this is one point which is being said here. Now, but one may get a question that how can Narada Muni have such, impurity? So they clarify that Narada Muni is exhibiting it. It is demonstrating this principle. It is not that he has this. So he is demonstrating. Actually, Narada Muni is completely transcendental. So Prabhupada also says that, and the same thing Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says towards the end of purport. So Srila Prabhupada, see the power of Narada Muni. Please read this both in this present life.
In his present life, which is completely freed from all material hankerings, Sri Narad Muni does not go into the forest, although he can turn every place into Vaikuntha by his presence only.
Yeah, so this is stature of Narad Muni. Now read the last part.
A pure devotee of the Lord therefore follows in the footsteps of the great devotees like Narada and Prahlad and engages his whole time in glorifying the Lord by the process of Kirtan. Such a preaching process is transcendental to all material qualities.
Prabhupada is speaking about whom? Yes. So in one sense, not that Prabhupada is writing about himself, but we can see that Prabhupada did this. Actually, he is writing this in Radha Damodar temple, first canto. So he did the same thing. He took the Vrindavan into the more dangerous place than forest actually. That is America. That's what he is saying. Such preaching process is transcendental to all material qualities. So Prabhupada himself also followed the footsteps of such. Because it's not about the place and purity, but about the the transcendent stage which they are, like Prabhupada, Narad Muni. They can go anywhere and turn other place to Vaikuntha. What to speak of getting affected by the place? So that is not the question. So it is not that Narad Muni had it, but Narad Muni demonstrated this principle through this Lord demonstrated through Narad Muni. So that's what Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, that Lord saying Hantan Yasmin means, my dear Narada, I am not seen by people who are apipakva kashayanam and kuyoginam, those who are incomplete in service, and those material tints are not removed. But I did show myself to you, so you are pure. That is what Vishwanath says. So Prabhupada is corroborating both. Prabhupada brings in at beginning the very important point that, see this green thing, there is no trace of a tinge of materiality in his person. So, Om Pavitra Apavitro va Sarvavatham Gatopiva. So there is what Lord is remembered by a person, he becomes purified. So what is the question of any tinge of materiality in his person? And thus, one who has slightest tinge of material affection cannot approach him. So this is the qualification we should strive to aspire for, that this tinge of, see the word Prabhupada is using, tinge itself is a very small thing, slightest tinge Prabhupada is saying. So there is a great amount of purity required to actually experience the Supreme Lord, which is exhibited here. So Srila Prabhupada writes in Kunti Maharani purports, no, not purport, this book, Teachings of Queen Kunti, when I was reading, when one statement I read, I was very shocked. So I want to show that statement to all of you. Yeah. Please read this statement here. This whole thing you read here. You are able to see the slides?
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhupada in Teachings of Queen Kunti.
Srila Prabhupada in Teachings of Queen Kunti, Namo Akinchan Vittaya. To be
That verse is being commented by Prabhupada. Beautiful. Yeah, please read.
To be materially impoverished is the first qualification of a devotee. One who does not possess anything in this material world, but simply possesses Krishna is called Akinchana. The word Akinchana means one who has lost all material possessions. As long as we have even the slightest tinge of an idea of becoming happy materially in some way or other, we shall have to accept our material body.
Yeah, so see, when I read this line, I was like shocked. My Lord, what are the words? He is not even saying slightest tinge here. Slightest tinge of idea that, okay, I can get some happiness on material level in this world. We have to take birth. Forget about seeing the Lord. So that's why such level of purity is required and necessary for having audience of Lord. So certainly there is need of aspiring for it, having impetus for it. So Srila Rupa Goswami also gives this fineness and depth of purity when he is speaking about pure devotional service. He is speaking at the level of the desire for mukti itself is a pishachi. Actually, that is the Gaudiya Vaishnava Siddhanta's purity, that even the mukti desire is also considered pishachi. So of course, this mukti is about Ayujya mukti, surely. At the same time, there are other kinds of mukti. So in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Srila Rupa Goswami says that Ekanta Bhakta, doesn't even desire those muktis actually, unless there is service. So there is no aspiration for him to attain this sukha and aishwarya which belongs to Lord. No, that is samipya, salokya, sarashti. These are all muktis. They are wonderful in the sense of they are taking one to Vaikuntha planets, gives the same form of the Lord. But the purity of desire of Ekanta Bhakta is not even that. So that's what actually Rupa Goswami also explains. So,
Prabhuji, what is Ekanta Bhakta?
Ekanta Bhakta is one who doesn't even desire the 5 kinds of muktis also. He doesn't just to, this is there in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, and of course NOD also of Prabhupada, that there are actually, even one goes to spiritual world, if he has some desire for sukha and aishwarya, so that is like mixture. Sukha aishwarya uttara. This is one kind of people who attain salokya, sarashti, mukti. Okay, sukha aishwarya. They have predominant desires of attaining similar form, similar opulence of Lord. This is a spiritual desire. They want to serve only, but there is some desire also with that. It's a spiritual, there is no material here. And there is another, they are more pure people, prema seva uttara. Means they have desire to serve with love, but with some desires of sukhashwara. So these are 2 types, okay? But Ekanta is one who doesn't even want these 2 things. So that is the prema seva. What he says, Ekanta Bhakta, he is this word only. And he goes on to say further that among Ekanta Bhaktas, the Shreshthas are Govinda Ritamanasa. Those whose minds are stolen by Govinda, that is the Lord of the Gopis. They are the highest among Ekanta Bhaktas. So, and he says that they cannot be even affected by Narayana. So that way he says actually the aspiration of a Gaudiya Vaishnava is that kind of thing. So this is there in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Prabhu. Okay. Yes. So continue ahead.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
So Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Sachin Prabhu, yes,
Can
Prabhu.
be same. Can be same Ekanta Bhakti or Ananya Bhakti.
Yes. We are going to come to that also towards the end of this chapter. Ananya Bhakti, Ekanta Bhakti, Kevala Bhakti. These are all same terminologies.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
So actually, I am sorry. We can take questions after some section is covered. I am extremely sorry to. I think Yashika Mataji has raised hand. Maybe can you please keep your inquiry in our part? We'll continue and complete some section and come to the question. Okay? Because we are going to discuss further on the same thing also. Some things might get clear in the discussion. Going further, Takrudadyadarshitam rupam ekat ma kamayate nagha mat kama shanakai sadhu sarvan manchati ritshayan. Yes, please read.
O virtuous one, you have only once seen my person, and this is just to increase your desire for me, because the more you hanker for me, the more you'll be freed from all material desires.
Yeah. So last verse, seeing last verse, you might have got question that, how many material desires are there in heart, how to get rid of them, and so much lightest tinge of idea also, if it is there, then nothing can be done. In this verse, Lord is giving the answer how to do it. That is, mat kama shanakai sadhu sarvan munchati rishaya. When one develops hankering for Lord, all other things are destroyed. That is a side effect. It is not that we want to avoid those things consciously and that is our focus. focus is positive thinking, feeling, willing for Krishna. And thinking, feeling, willing for matter will reduce as an effect. So that's the point being told here, essential positive principle which has to be. So Lord is answering him, my dear Narada, what I have done is for you only. I want to increase. Lord is called as expert emotional exchanger. You know, he doesn't want the relationship to be what you can say, stagnated. He always wants to increase the intensity of the emotional exchanges. That's how he does different leelas with his devotees, just to intensify the devotion in the heart. Like Kaliya pastime, he's dancing in the coils in front of Rajvasis for 45 minutes. They're about to die, then he stops. Or he runs away from the gopis who came on his call on flute, and he interacts with them and suddenly he leaves. So why he does what he does is the most difficult thing to understand. But when we go to Srimad Bhagavatam, we can understand how and why Lord reciprocates with different devotees. Because his non-reciprocation is also reciprocation. So that's what has to be clearly understood. So let us first go to the purport of Srila Prabhupada. Then we'll see the important aspects of this verse. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur said that, so I already explained to you, that your love is currently in very youthfulness. I want to increase, weak. I want to make it more increase. My rule is that I show myself one time only to a person practicing in his present body. In Sadhak Deha, who has developed prema. So Sadhak Deha, when attains prema bhakti, Lord shows him once. That is my rule. So his hankering increases. Yeah. So Prabhupada takes that point of thinking, feeling, willing, which I mentioned, that a living entity cannot live by that. This is an impersonal philosophy. That is just kill thinking, feeling, and willing. And just say no to these things. No, that is not sustainable for a long time. He must be working, he must be thinking, he must be willing. That's what Prabhupada is saying in the first line. Read this thing. Yes. The more the person.
The more a person is engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, the more he acquires a hankering for it. That is the transcendental nature of godly service. Material service has satiation, whereas spiritual service of the Lord has neither satiation nor end. One can go on increasing his hankerings for the loving transcendental service of the Lord, and yet he will not find satiation or end. By intense service of the Lord, one can experience the presence of the Lord transcendentally. Therefore, seeing the Lord means being engaged in his service, because his service and his person are identical. The sincere devotees should go on with sincere service of the Lord. The Lord will give proper direction as to how and where it has to be done. There was no material desire in Narada.
Yeah, okay. And just to increase his intense desire for Lord, he was to advise. Yeah. So here Prabhupada is saying, see, sincere devotees should go on with sincere service. So what is the sincere service? Sincere service is that service which is done with proper quality of consciousness. That's what Prabhupada is saying. Engaged, not just engaged in some service, engaged in not just service, loving service and transcendental loving service. Means there is a quality in which one is engaged. Why he is engaged, what he is thinking, that is one thing which is essential to be there. And then naturally, if quality is proper, he wants to increase the quantity. That's what he is saying. Not that by just increasing quantity, just go on increasing quantity and quality will improve. That is not what is told here by Prabhupada. Prabhupada is telling that the cause is quality and the result is quantity. That is the transcendental nature of godly service. So that is one point. And not just there is intensity also. So to experience the presence of Lord, bhakti para ishanubhavo virakti ranyatra cha trisha eka kala. So there is intensity also in the practice. So it's very essential for us to go closer and closer to the verse of Anna Bhilashita Shunya, Jnana Karmadi Anavritam, Anukullena Krishnanu, Sheelanam Bhaktiruttam. So that's the quality part. And as the quality we try to put, then naturally, as Prabhupada is saying, one should do it more. There is no satiation. So I am just saying we are all can try our best to introspect and engage accordingly. In whatever services we have been given, can be anything. It can be cleaning the door, washing the pots, cooking, or going and preaching somewhere, or doing deity worship. Anything it can be. So there is a substance of service and there is a form of the service. So the substance of service is why you are doing it. What is your motivation, thinking, feeling, and willing? And the form of the service is the action and the expertise, etc. The skill. So both have to be there. There should be substance and there should be form. Either of the two, if one of them is not there, it's not at all proper. That's why devotional service, right? Not just devotion, not just service, devotional service. So that's what is told. And that is not just enough. Like Prabhupada is saying, when intense service is done, then one can experience the presence of the Lord. So this is nothing but from the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, which I had quoted there, that this darshan of Lord, the experience is at the stage of prema. So that bhav bhakti can be attained only by intensity and the purity in the practice. Because bhav bhakti, Srila Rupa Goswami says that bhav bhakti, Lord doesn't give to anyone and everyone. Because it's very rare. Why it is rare? Because Krishna doesn't give it. So that's why we have to be trying to be intense in our practice. So this is what His Holiness Vrindavan Chandra Maharaj was telling, that yatna agraha vina na janmaya rati. Yatna and agraha. Without these two things, this is nothing but the intensity. Rati will not be coming. That is bhava. And in that you have audience of or experience of the Supreme Lord directly, personally. So this is what is important. He was saying that actually sadhan bhakti, there is experience of kleshagni and shubhada, and that can come by practice of sadhan bhakti. That can come quite easily as compared to this bhava bhakti. It requires great intensity and refinedness of pure desire, anna vilashita shunyam, etc. So yatna and agraha, there is great tallinta or nishtha or faith, and great endeavor is there required for the same thing. So that intensity is this only. So that's what actually Prabhupada is telling here, that to awaken humility in Narada Muni, this is being said, and it brought humility, right? So that's what this verse speaks. Going further, text 23. Satsevaya dirghayapi chatudra mai jata mai dridha matihi hitvam idam lokam ganta majjana tamasi. Yes. Please read. I'm sorry. Please read the translation. Text 23.
Hare Krishna. By service of the Absolute Truth, even for a few days, a devotee attains firm and fixed intelligence in me. Consequently, he goes on to become my associate in the transcendental world after giving up the present material worlds.
Yeah, thank you. So, Satsevaya adhirgaya api. Satsevaya means to serving Sat. What is Sat? Sat means the Supreme Lord or devotee also. So, Prabhupada will tell in the purport, Vishwanath Thakur says, Sat Sevaya means service to the Lord or service to the devotees of the Lord. Adhirgaya api. Even little bit, not so long. Jatu mai dridhamati. One can develop firm faith, fixed intelligence, dridhamati, to serve the Supreme Lord. And then you will attain this, like that. Consequently, he goes on to become my associate in the transcendental world after giving up the present deplorable material world. So Lord is telling a general principle here, that simply serve the great devotee. And that's how you serve me. So Mahat Seva is what is being told here. So Srila Prabhupada, same thing, he begins in the purport. Although he has written here, service to the absolute truth. You see how to service to the absolute truth is done by, read this.
Charnarvind, can you read?
Serving the absolute truth means rendering service unto the absolute personality of Godhead under the direction of a bona fide spiritual master, who is a transparent medium between the Lord and the neophyte devotee. The neophyte devotee has no ability to approach the absolute personality of Godhead by the strength of his present imperfect material senses, and therefore, under the direction of the spiritual master, he is trained in the transcendental service of the Lord.
Yeah. So this is the point. Prabhupada is telling in the purport that serving Sat Sevaya means serving spiritual master, serving the great devotees of the Lord. Because who are transparent, who are in touch with the Supreme Lord. By pleasing them, we can please the Lord. Because we have no ability to do that. And here another important point which is told in the verses, which is told in Bhagavad Gita by the same Supreme Lord. Dridhamati, Jatu mai dridhamati. So in Bhagavad Gita also there is one verse which says by which one can attain Dridhata in Bhakti. Can anyone say that verse in Bhagavad Gita? What is that word? Jananam punya karmanam te dvandvanoha nirmukta bhajante mam dridhavrataha yesham tu antagatam papam jananam punya karmanam te dvandvanoha nirmukta bhajate mam dridhavrataha. So it appears that dridhavrataha can come when our sins are finished by doing punya karma. But what is that punya karma? That punya karmana means serving and pleasing great pure devotees. By serving and pleasing pure devotees, one gets determination in practice of devotional service. So that's what is the point here being told here. Or in other words, Mahat Seva Dwara Mahur Vimukti. So that's the key thing here Lord is telling. And that's what Narada did actually. He served the Bhaktivedantas for 4 months, even without much knowledge of it. But he got the effect. Text 24. Matirmai nibaddeyam na vipaddeta karhichit vajasarga nirodhepi mutischa mad anugrahat.
Intelligence engaged in my devotion cannot be perverted at any time. Even at the time of creation as well as at the time of annihilation, your remembrance will continue by my mercy.
Yeah. So Lord is benedicting Narada boy, and Narada is telling Vedvyas the answer to his question that how is it that you are able to remember something which happened in previous kalpa? He is giving. This is vision by Lord. Lord has told that you will remember. Even praja sarga nirodhoti. You will never mritischa mad anugrahat. So what we remember is all mercy of Lord. We don't have any contribution. Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto mattah smritir jnanam apohanam cha. So Lord is giving remembrance, knowledge and forgetfulness. So what to speak of? This case is Lord Bhagavan himself. That verse was speaking about Paramatma actually, which is neutrally giving this all this. Here Lord is telling, Mad Anugrahat, you will get smrti of me. Nothing will go. That is the answer to the question which was asked by Vedvyas. Yeah. So Prabhupada tells the point that since Lord is eternal, relationship is eternal. Since intelligence applied in something eternal is also eternal. So that's what is being said here. Going further. Yeah. Please read the translation, text 25. Then that supreme authority, personified by the sound and unseen by the eyes, the most wonderful, stopped speaking. Feeling a sense of gratitude, I offered my obeisances unto him, bowing my head. So, Narad Muni is telling his response, actually in this verse, with great humility. Etavad uktva upaparama tanmahat, bhutam nabholingam alingam ishwaram. Nabholingam means what? One who has form of ether or sound, right? Sound takes birth in ether, actually. Not rather ulta. The ether comes from sound. So Nabholingam means in the form of sound. Alingam, who doesn't have material form, Ishwaram. This Lord is who is capable. Actually, I was such a fallen boy of Shudra background, but Lord reciprocated me very kindly. And then I offered my great respects to him out of gratitude. And that's what, bowing my head, I offered obeisances. So Prabhupada comments about those two verses, words, no? Nabholingam Avishwar. The conclusion is that the Lord can be seen and heard by persistent chanting the transcendental sound. So actually, the Vedanta Sutra ends with the aphorism Anavritti Shabdat, Anavritti Shabdat. So this is the only thing which is repeated in Vedanta Sutra. Can you imagine? In essence, something is repeated. That too at the end. So means what? Liberation can happen through transcendental sound vibration. 2 times it is told. Anavritti Shabdat. Means one will never take birth again in this material world by Shabda. The Shabda in essence means Shravanam and Kirtanam of Harinam and Harikatha. That is what is the conclusion. By doing that properly, one can have audience of Lord, one can go back to Godhead. That's the whole purpose of all Vedas. So that's what is seen as a conclusion here. Now the next is the beautiful verse, which Prabhupada says that this verse shows the life of a sincere devotee in a nutshell. So we will recite this verse. So you can all recite after me. Namani anantasya hatatra papatan.
Namani anantasya tatra
Guhyani bhadrani kritani yasmaran. Gam pariyatan tushtamana spruhaha. Kalam pratikshan vimado vimatsaraha. Please read the translation.
Translation. Thus, I began chanting the holy name in the fame of the Lord by repeated recitation, ignoring all the formalities of the material world. Such chanting and remembering of the transcendental pastimes of the Lord are benedictory. So doing, I travel all of the earth fully satisfied, humble, and unenvious. Is that it, Purport?
No, I think your translation is little different than what I am seeing here. Pride and envy. I think it is written. Yeah, same verse only, but I think little different translation is there.
Yes, maybe edition may be different.
Yeah, meaning is the same, but there are some additions in the. Yeah, so this is the life of a sincere devotee in nutshell. So what are his activities? What is his smaran? And what is his heart? This is all given there. So first 2 lines are telling about what he is doing externally. Namani anantasya. Lord's names he is chanting loudly without any shame. Atatrapaha means without any being shy or formal, no, chanting loudly. Guhyani bhadrani kritani chasmaran, while remembering in heart different pastimes of Lord. Which pastimes? Very confidential pastimes, which cannot be narrated, but can be remembered. He was remembering those pastimes while chanting the holy name. But what was more, the 4 qualities which are mentioned in the next 2 lines are also important. Apart from the Gram Paryatan, I traveled all over the places, different villages. Tushtamana, completely satisfied. Krataspruha, without having any material desires, material motivation. Kalam Pratikshan, I was just waiting for time. Which, for what he was waiting, we'll see later, next verse. Vimado Vimatsaraha. Vimado means without pride, Vimatsaraha means without envy. So, without envy and without pride, without any material desire, is completely satisfied while he is doing these 2 things. He is doing Kirtan and he is doing Smaran of the Leelas of the Lord. So that's what Narada did all the time, till the time he met the last moment of his life. So Srila Prabhupada beautifully writes this purport. Let's see. As I told, the life of a sincere devotee of Lord is thus explained in a nutshell by Narada Muni. So we can see in this particular purport what are different aspects of our devotional service. So one should be very serious when he is engaged in devotional service. Takes very seriously the chanting of the holy names of Lord while traveling all over. They are all conducted by one single desire, to go home back to Godhead. So there was no other desire in him. And because they have the highest aim of life, going back to Godhead, they are never envious of any, nor they are proud of being eligible to go back to Godhead. So here Prabhupada is telling the 2, Vimado Vimatsaraha. Means what? Those people who are focused on going back to Godhead, or in other words, to attain Krishna Prema while being in this world, are never interested in competing on material level or any competition, what to speak of spiritual level also. There is no question of any desire for competing. The whole material world outside is competing for material possessions, positions, and prestige and powers and pleasures. Knowingly, unknowingly, expressing openly in the advertisements, So this is the nature of this world. But this is one path which is taken by most of the people. Just headlong going in the direction of material prosperity. But there is another path, that is spiritual life, devotional service, where there are much people walking there. So there is no question of competition there. So here, so that's why there is no envious. Why there is? So to the degree we are inspired and understand what is pure devotional service, to that degree our envy will reduce, because we will think that it is illogical to be thinking about the things which people have in the material world. There is no need for it for my practice of bhakti. So there is no envy then, that he has it, I don't have it. So this is all the time consciousness which is there in the discussion of the people in general, as well as to some extent devotees also. So what are different possessions which others have, So but a devotee who is actually inspired to practice and to aspire for perfection in pure devotional service, he doesn't have competing mentality at all. And to the degree we give that up, to that degree we can respect everyone and actually to enter into Srimad Bhagavatam. That's what Nirmatsaranam Satam, right? Here also called Vimado Vimatsaraha. There is no Matsar. So there is competition means there is envy. Means there is envy means competition. Competition means there is disrespect. So there is offense. So this is how it happens. So we have to see what is my value system. Based on that, these things can reduce actually. So that's why that is there, nor envious nor proud. That okay, I know what is pure devotional service. No, this is another problem. It's a bigger problem than envy. That is pride. So both things are not there. Or one strives to give them up. One introspects. So what is that devotee's life in a nutshell is this only actually. So he has two things basically. You are able to see the slide, right? Hare Krishna. Wait a minute. Now it's visible.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. So there are two things. Exclusive devotion within and exclusive dedication without. So there is enthusiasm, there is confidence in the activities of service which you. But that is with exclusive devotion within. That is with humility and patience. That exclusivity within and exclusive dedication without. So utsahat nishchayat dhairyat, what we see, actually that's what it is. So these two things are simultaneously existing in the personality of a sincere devotee, as Prabhupada is telling. He has no, he is sincere, serious, and no ulterior motivation. Means what? This only. There is exclusive devotion and exclusive dedication. There can be only exclusive dedication for even a person who is materially motivated to attain something on material level, or even in devotional circle, he wants to attain something. One can be dedicated, but one has to introspect that is there exclusivity in my desires to please Guru and Krishna? Is there any humility, or I am feeling pride? And even if I am doing exclusive devotion, exclusive dedication, and there is no reciprocation, then is there patience there in my heart? So these things are to be introspected actually. Or in other words, Shraddha and Sharanagati. So Shraddha is within, Sharanagati is without. So that's what is the essence of practice. That one strives for these things. And that's what is meaning of being sincere. He tries to be exclusively devoted within, and he wants to be exclusively devoted or dedicated without. So that's what is Prabhupada saying here. And such people's only business is to chant and remember the holy name, fame, pastimes of the Lord according to personal capacity. So not that everyone will able to do like what Narada Muni did or Prabhupada did or anyone else is doing. Personal capacity. To distribute the message, personal capacity for others' welfare without motive for material. So that's the thing. So there is no comparison in that sense, I do my best. It may not be the best in outside world. There is no 3 times Haribol, there is no flute, there is nothing, no gift I got. But I did my best. That's it. That's what Krishna, for Krishna it is best. There is nothing external, no material gain. That's the thing of the practice. So text 27. Evam Krishna mater brahman na saktasyamalastmanah kalha pradurbhut kale tadit saudamini yatha.
And so, O Brahmana. Okay. Mataji, please read.
And so, O Brahmana, Vasudeva, in due course of time, who was fully absorbed in thinking of Krishna and who therefore had no attachments, being completely freed from all material tents, met with death as lightning and illumination occur simultaneously.
Yeah. So now Narada is telling about his body. The other question was asked to him, no? How did he got this body, spiritual body. So that's what is being told. The previous verse was telling that kalam pratikshan. So the sincere devotee is waiting. Kalam pratikshan. What is he waiting for? That when I will attain the spiritual body in which I can fully serve the Supreme Lord. This material body has so many limitations. That's why kalam pratikshan, that is expressed in this word. Evam means I was waiting, like with this consciousness in my mind, like Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that I was waiting for expectantly for a long time. That time made its appearance, or it's like the time when the, it is explained here. So that time appeared when I left the body. So how it all happened? It happened very suddenly. Tadit saundamini yatha. Kalah pradurbhut kali. So I was waiting for that moment of death. That death arrived. And at once I left my material body and attained spiritual body. Just as lightnings, two lightnings at one lightning comes, other lightning comes. So illumination. There is practically no difference. Lightning and illumination, right? So that's what happened simultaneously. So that's what is being said here, that he attained spiritual body directly. And of course, he completely was freed from material attachments. Na asakta samalatmanaha. Prabhupada explains these things from me. Yeah, please read this. As a very rich man has no hankerings for small petty things, so also a devotee of Lord Krishna, who is guaranteed to pass on the kingdom of God, where life is eternal, fully cognizant and blissful, naturally has no hankerings for petty material things, which are like dolls or shadows of the reality and are without permanent value. That is the sign of spiritually enriched person. So basically, Prabhupada is telling here that spiritually enriched, he is commenting on that one word. And what is that? Nasakkasya amalatmana. So he sees this material world in its truth. As one devotee was sharing the point that Maya is there in the vision of this world. We have to see the matter in its true condition. Because matter is not Maya and matter is not illusion, which Mayavadis say. Matter is the energy of the Lord, and it becomes attractive because of Lord's entering into it. It is not that anything else is the reason. That's Bhagavad Gita speaking in the 7th chapter. So he knows that whatever beauty I am seeing in this world is the perverted reflection of the beauty which is there in the spiritual world. Whatever exchanges the pleasure are there in the material worlds of relationships, they are the shadows of the real spiritual relationships in the spiritual world. So he sees that perverted reflection. Everywhere he sees some pleasurable, some valuable, some attractive, some fragrant, some tasty, some beautiful form, some soft item. So he may get attracted, but he sees the truth in it, that yad yad vibhutimat sattvam shrimat urjitam evava tattadeva vagachatvam mama tejo amsha sambhavam. That because Krishna has entered into the water, that's why it is tasty. Because Krishna is entered into the matter and creating this particular form of a human being, that's why it is looking beautiful for some period of time. So there is no permanent value in the valuable things of this world. So that is what is his vision. So that's why Prabhupada is saying that he sees them like a doll. Doll is like, there are so many these cloth shops, they keep so many dolls. But what is the reality in that beauty? Be it a man or a woman. But it is very attractive. But reality, it is a doll. So that's what is the reality of it. But it is not just doll. The real thing exists. So it's a shadow of reality. So that this reflection seeing can make us Krishna conscious. Like seeing the reflection of mango and remembering that, okay, this is attractive because there is a mango above. So that's why we can see the matter in a right perspective. That's what is being said. So then Prabhupada is giving a very interesting analogy. That a rich man, very rich, stinky person, small petty things, he doesn't have hankering for some small things. Similarly, a devotee of Lord, like Ambrish Maharaj, same example is given. Like Ambrish Maharaj was doing so nice bhakti, with all his angas. But when he renounced his kingdom, he started performing more intense bhakti, thinking that, I have to purify my heart more and more. So there also Prabhupada gives this analogy of a rich man. But their context is that just as a billionaire is never satisfied by earning money, he wants to become trillionaire. So he wants to increase his devotion more and more. So that is the thing. So Prabhupada is quoting that comparison. So basically, this hankering for petty things can be diminished by trying to change our perception, trying to see through Shastra Chakshu, trying to see through Jnana Chakshu of Bhagavad Gita from chapter 7 to 12. So it's a practice. I am also saying all these things, but it's a matter of practice. I am also quite far. But we have to practice. That's the only hope for us. So even before death, a pure devotee has no material affection due to his body being spiritualized like red hot iron in contact with iron. So no material affection. It's a very essential word. So even in the relationships which he has affection, but not attachment in his relationships. And that's what it means, that his relationships are seen in terms of connection with Krishna. Wife, children, parents, relatives, they are all seen in terms of connection with Krishna, not with material affection, but with affection, no doubt about it. Text 28. Vaivjamane maitam shraddham bhagavatim tanum arabdha karma nirvano nyapatat pancha bhautikaha. Please read.
Having been awarded transcendental body befitting an associate of the personality of Godhead, I quit the body made of 5 material elements, and thus all acquired fruitive results of work, karma, stopped.
Yeah. So basically, he is further saying that I attend a spiritual body. Shuddham Bhagavatim Tanam. This Shuddham means Shuddha Sattva. Satchitananda body he acquired. And of course, the Arabdha Karma Nirvana means there were Nyapatat Panchabhautikaha. So earlier body was Panchabhautikaha, made up of 5 material elements and with effects of 3 modes. So all these things, reactions of work, everything, that entirely stopped. So yeah, Srila Prabhupada also explains this little bit, but please go ahead. Now, actually, the giving up of body is commented by Prabhupada and other acharyas also elaborately. Basically, why does Lord do, what is the spiritual body when it is attained? So that are all things little bit are explained. Like Prabhupada is saying, the devotee's body becomes at once surcharged with transcendental qualities as soon as he is engaged in devotional service of the Lord. It acts like magnetic influence of touchstone upon iron. So actually, Prabhupada writes there, spiritualized, body is spiritualized first and then it is given up. Like there it is written, karma Parabdha karma nirvano. So when starts practicing devotional service, he reaches certain stage of devotion, his karmas get destroyed quite before, not at the time of giving up the body, quite before. So that's what actually Vishwanath Thakur also explained. That not that Narada had some karma left, then he gave up at this point. No. So they clarify this point. So, and Prabhupada also comments on similar points. We will go further. Now, the last question which was asked by Vedvyas. If you have eternal body, then why people, I heard that you are called as someone who is son of Brahma, or you manifested from Brahma. How do I hear that? Because you have eternal body. And why we call you son of Brahma, or you manifested from Brahma? So he quotes verse also. This verse it is said that Narada, Utsangan Narado Jadni, Narada was born from liberation of Brahma. So how can I see that? So he answers that question in text 29. Please read the translation.
At the end of the millennium, when personality of Godhead, Lord Narayan, lay down within the water of devastation, Brahma began to enter into him along with all creative elements. And I also entered through his breathing.
Yeah. So at the end of Kalpa, in previous Kalpa, that time, Brahmaji, day gets over. So he sleeps. Where did he sleep? So when he sleeps, he takes everything within him and he goes into Garbhodakshaya Vishnu to sleep. So that's what happened. On Narayan here it is. So I went there, then for Sahasra Yuga, he sleeps. Then he again gets up, then I manifested from him. That is mentioned in this verse. Going further. Yeah, so here Prabhupada from Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur quotes that just as Lord appears in this world, similarly his devotees also have the similar potency. Like last line you see, the Lord and his devotees are therefore simultaneously one and different as spiritual entities. They belong to the same category of transcendence. Just as Krishna entered the womb of Devaki and from heart of Vasudeva he was transferred to womb of Devaki and he manifested. Similarly, Narada is a Nitya Siddha devotee, as I mentioned earlier also. Right? Narada is demonstrating these principles, but originally is completely pure. So he also has a similar potency like Lord to manifest through Brahma, etc. So that's what Prabhupada writes actually in the purport. From Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti. So Narada goes to say further. Please read the translation. Text 30.
After 43,00,000 solar years, when Brahma awoke to create again by the will of the Lord, all the rishis like Marichi, Angira, Atri, and so on were created from the transcendental body of the Lord, and I also appeared along with them.
Yeah. So he is telling now that not just I appeared for Brahma, but Marichi and other sages, Atri, they also appeared from Brahma, like me. That's what he is telling. After Sahasra Yugas, after this long time, Brahmaji got up, and then I, Marichi, Angira, Atri, they also were created from the Brahma. But what is the difference between the two? That will be told in the next verse. So this already I explained. Yeah, please read the translation, text 31.
Hare Krishna.
Then by the grace of the Almighty Vishnu, I travel everywhere without restriction, both in the transcendental world and in the three divisions of the material world. This is because I am fixed in unbroken devotional service of the Lord.
Yeah. So, my dear Brahma, my dear Vyas, don't think that Marichi and Atri and all, they are like me. See, I have a transcendental body and I can travel anywhere and everywhere. But they cannot do that. they have restriction of their influence and travel, and they have material bodies, but I have spiritual body. That's the intention of this verse. That's why he's telling Antar Bahishya Lokantri. 3 lokas, and Narada can go to Vaikuntha also. So Prabhupada quotes in this verse only the transcendental spaceman. So Narada Muni is transcendental, liberated spaceman. He can go anywhere and everywhere, but not rishis like Marichi and so they are actually authorities of karma. So they can be there in the material world. They cannot travel beyond that. And Sanak and Sanatan are authorities on jnana. But Narada Muni is the authority of bhakti. So he has a transcendental body and he can travel from material world to spiritual world by mercy of the Lord. So that is the difference between him and Narada. So Narada last about his talk he is telling. Now he is telling Lord gifted him Veena. Yeah, please read the translation, text 32.
Hare Krishna. And thus I travel, constantly singing the transcendental message of the glories of the Lord, vibrating this instrument called Veena, which is charged with transcendental sound and which was given to me by Lord Krishna.
Yeah. So this is a special instrument which Narada carries, and which is not just like instrument, it is a gift from the Supreme Lord, completely spiritual. So I always chant and travel all over the world. So Prabhupada says that this all sound vibrates, Sare, Gama, Padanita and all, they all come from that one. Sound vibrated by the instrument cannot be material. Therefore, the glories of and the pastimes which are broadcast by the instrument of Narada are also transcendental without tinge of material inability. Text 33. Yeah, please read translation.
The Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, whose glories and activities are pleasing to hear, at once appears on the scene of my heart, as if called for as soon as I begin to chant his holy activities.
Yeah. So it's very interesting and very confidential thing is being shared by Narada Muni here. As soon as I chant the name of Lord, Lord immediately appears. Just as you call any person, he appears, like that Lord appears. So it's very confidential thing being shared here by Narada Muni to Vaidvyas. So Prabhupada writes a very interesting purport where he says that actually how this natural tendency is there, that if someone is calling your name, naturally you become attracted, naturally you become interested in the person. It's a natural psychology that in every individual case that a person likes to hear and enjoy his personal glories enumerated by others. That is a natural instinct. And the Lord, being also an individual personality like others, it is not an exception to this psychology, because psychological characteristics are visible in individual souls, are but reflections of the same psychology of the absolute Lord. The only difference is that the Lord is the greatest personality of all and absolute in all affairs. So very interesting point Prabhupada is writing as we sing in his hymn, Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Dishya. So wherever Prabhupada gets a point to establish personalism, he establishes, and wherever he gets chance to punch on impersonalism or Mayavad, he will do. So here he is bringing in this humanly nature of the Supreme Lord, very beautifully. That it's just a natural instinct. So just as a person in this world likes, that's how Lord likes. But there is a difference. Lord is absolute. His name is absolute. And glorious, and that is not just Lord's name, but a pure devotee's name is also becomes as good as the Lord's name. So that is by the mercy of the Lord. And here Prabhupada writes very nice. As soon as a pure devotee engages himself in a pure devotional service of hearing, chanting, remembering the name, fame, activities of the Lord, at once he becomes visible to the transcendental eyes of the pure devotee by reflecting himself on mirror of the heart by spiritual television. Very interesting word Prabhupada uses. Prabhupada is writing this with his own experience. of the same thing. That's why he's writing. Spiritual television. He's sitting in Radha Damodar, getting blessings of Srila Rupa Goswami, sweeping the floor there with tears in his eyes. He's experiencing these things and he's writing these purports there. So that's what is Prabhupada's experience also, who is the best representative of Narada Muni. So actually, here the reciprocation of Lord also is spoken. Narada is clearly telling how Lord reciprocates. He gave gift to me. And earlier reciprocation was Lord did not show me again. So it's very important for us to understand how Lord reciprocates with different kinds of devotees. So this is beautifully told in the discussion between the gopis and Krishna when Krishna leaves and comes back. So gopis ask Krishna very amazing questions, very genuine. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Sorry, your voice is breaking.
Really? Hare Krishna. I didn't do anything, but Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Voice is clear.
Your voice was breaking from last 1 minute.
Okay. Now how it is?
It is okay. It is okay. It's clear.
Yeah. I will just read this. See how Lord's reciprocation by apparently not responding. So this is spoken by Supreme Lord to gopis. And Lord is telling how he reciprocates with different devotees. Lord's different, see this last line, Lord's different deeds with different purposes, with different levels of devotees. So Lord deals differently for different purposes. So he is telling the gopis beautifully. This is the purport. Very nice verse where he's telling how it reciprocates with the devotees when they are practicing devotional service. Yeah, please read this for those.
For those surrendered souls who worship me through Nama Kirtan and other means, I do not respond in order to make their worship more perfect. O gopis, who cannot understand my words, Abalagana, not seeing me, those surrendered souls develop humility. Everything I have done has been useless because I am an offender and could not get a drop of mercy. I am most unfortunate, constantly thinking in this way. Bhakti grows prominently devoid of lust and anger. This is concerning the nature of those who have not attained prema.
Yeah.
Lord's
yeah, this we read already. So actually this is very essential to understand that how Lord reciprocates. Lord reciprocates according to not how we expect him, but the way he wants to. But here he is telling why he does that. He reciprocates not immediately to sadhana bhakta. That's what. Not attain prema means sadhana bhakti. So adav shraddha till asakti. These all people. It doesn't reciprocate. Why? Because they develop humility. Their worship can become more and more perfect, more and more intense, more and more refined. And they start feeling that whatever I am doing, I am an offender. That's why I am not getting able to any drop of mercy of the Supreme Lord. So like that, by thinking like this, their bhakti grows. So this is the Sharanagati principle of humility. By this, bhakti grows prominently. And then this all, the inappropriate emotions also go away, like that is written. So this is a very essential thing to understand actually. So it's a very discussion which one can refer in his leisure. This is 10.32.20, so 20, 21, 22, like that. These three verses are beautiful, where Krishna tells how he reciprocates. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells, Ye yathamam prapaddante, that much only. But he doesn't explain more. But here, he's telling how he reciprocates with conditioned souls, sadhakas, and how he reciprocates with siddhas, and how he reciprocated with gopis. Because gopis were angry with him. Then Krishna told that why I did this. And then he ended up with that verse that, my dear gopis, I cannot repay you for your devotion. So that's how that verse ends actually. So it's a very beautiful section. And if one wishes, one can read because it's very essential. Don't think that this is Ras Leela, how I can read. These 4 verses, there is no problem to read. Because he is telling how Krishna reciprocates actually. So 10.32, 20, 21, 22, and maybe 1, 2 verses before all. Very beautiful description of how Lord reciprocates. It's very essential for practitioner to understand how Lord reciprocates, because faith, patience, humility, and perseverance all depend on this one, right? So that's these verses. Now the next section is another very, very essential section of concluding the whole chapter, or not set of chapter actually. So before going there, maybe for 5-10 minutes we can discuss some question answer. And Anuj Prabhu, you want to show that now?
Yes, Prabhuji. I had few announcements also. Can I make them?
Okay, but we will have after announcement also, we will have
class. Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
So first thing regarding tomorrow's class. So as I had sent in the WhatsApp message that because of festival and Prabhuji is also traveling, we want to have a shorter class tomorrow, and I had given 2 options. So can everyone please respond to it now in next 5 minutes while I'm making other announcements, so that we can decide the class for timings for tomorrow.
You are showing, Prabhu?
Prabhuji, it's on the WhatsApp. I'm not showing anything. I had sent, everybody can access WhatsApp now.
Okay. Please do that then. Fine. I thought you are showing something here.
Okay. So you can see the poll, right? Devotees can see the poll. So please respond. So, meanwhile, next announcement. I have created a Google Sheet for marking attendance of devotees. So devotees can see their attendance for unit 2, and if there is any concern, please let me know. That can be done by tomorrow. And for every class, I would mark attendance during the class. And if there is anything any concern, devotees can inform same day.
Prabhuji, where is the sheet?
Sorry, I thought I had already shared it, but I realized I have shared it now. I thought I shared it last week, but I missed it. So now can you see on the WhatsApp? So it's a read-only sheet. You can see your attendance, but you will not be able to make changes. So there are in that sheet, if you open, there will be different sheets for unit 1, unit 2, unit 3. So I hope you are able to see the sheets in that unit 1, unit 2, unit 3.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, can 1 or 2 more devotees confirm?
Yes, Prabhuji, we can see that.
Thank you. And third thing regarding OBA submission. So I have sent the link. So now this link is only for OBA, and this, like, every devotee has to submit using this link, and this is only for our batch. And like once I receive all the OBAs, I would create a zip file and send it to the BVRB. So I hope that is all right. Is there any devotee who had used any other link for unit 2? If you have already submitted using any other link.
So till what time we can submit? Because I'm out right now. So once I reach home, I will
today
submit
anytime
it
is okay.
immediately. Okay,
Yes.
na Prabhuji, today anytime.
Yes.
Yeah. So as soon as I reach, I'll immediately submit to you.
Any concern related to OBA? Anything?
Prabhuji, just one question. When we will come to know about previous unit marks and all?
Mataji had asked them, but they said they'll let me know.
Okay,
I'll ask
no
again.
problem.
I'll remind again.
So it is just to have, we will get a guideline whether we are doing it correctly or not. Just for that, Prabhuji.
Yes, especially for the initial.
Yeah. Just to get a guideline for writing OBA.
I'll remind again.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, for OBA, today is last date, or can tomorrow also we can wait? Because today is Saturday, tomorrow is Sunday, maybe only.
Yeah, I mean, even I was under assumption it would be Sunday.
Because we had extended, like devotees had asked for 3-4 days. Then I thought, like, I extended till Saturday to, like, so that once weekend is also there. Okay, we can accept till tomorrow max.
Thank you.
That will be great.
And regarding attendance, I had received some policy from BBRB, so I'll forward that. And they have requested again, like, it's very difficult thing for me. They have requested to mark as absent if videos are not on. So in first 2 units it was good, but now it is observed that, like, many devotees are keeping their videos off. So requesting devotees to please keep their videos on.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Here there is some internet issues, Prabhuji. So if I am switching on the video, I'm unable to hear, Prabhuji. That's the reason why I kept the video off today.
If there is any such concern, just let me know on WhatsApp or Zoom chat.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So now regarding the poll for tomorrow's class, last thing. So 16 devotees have opted for 2:30 to 3:30 p.m. and 11 devotees for 12:30 to 1:30. So we'll go ahead with 2:30 to 3:30 p.m. and requesting devotees to please join, like, if they can join by 2:20, like earlier they join better it would be, so that we can start sharp on time, and Prabhuji will have to leave, so that we can end sharp at 3:30. Thank you, Prabhuji, for the time. So we'll have class from 2:30, Prabhuji. Is that okay? Prabhuji, you are muted. Yes. Samarpan, Prabhuji, you are muted.
Okay, yeah. I think Yashika Mataji had a question, I think, earlier. So I had told her to park it. So if she wants to express it, she can express, or anyone else has anything. Hare Krishna.
Yashika Mataji, you want to ask question? No.
So Prabhuji, I was just having this again one query regarding this Ekanta Bhakta, because we have heard na Ekanta ki Hari Bhakti Utpata eva kalpate. So therefore, when I heard Ekanta Bhakta, this definition, this is the first time I'm hearing this. So
Oh, wait a minute. That actually you have to see the context when
Context.
and it is not ekanta bhakti, it is ekantiki harer bhakti. Shruti Smriti Puranadi Charatri ki vidhim vina ekantiki harer bhakti utpata eva kalpati. So that is a bhakti which is practiced whimsically. So actually bhakti is anugatya dharma, means it's a dharma where one is following someone else in essence. So if someone is doing something whimsically, even that bhakti also will create disturbances on it, right? So that's what it is, not at all this ekanta bhakti.
Yeah, got clarification. Thank you very much.
Yes. Anyone else says any?
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dhanvat Naam. Prabhuji, I have a query in text 21 translation.
Yeah, please tell.
Prabhuji, here it is written, those who are incomplete in service. So what kind of service is called completed? I mean,
Yeah, so actually incomplete in service and avipakva kashayanam. So these two Prabhupadas made it into two different qualities. So basically complete in service is nothing but what we discussed in the purport of that, the intensity, the quality and the quantity and the intensity of practice. Basically the form of any service and the substance of any service. So there is a proper intention and there is proper action. So these two things are there. That is, if there is some discrepancy in any of the two, there is incompleteness in the service. Kuyoginam. So we can understand. Other way to understand is if we are going away from the Anna Vilashita Shunya, that is, we can say it is an incomplete service. So it is not just that I was told to do this service and it remained incomplete. It is not just so gross as like that. Incomplete has both connection in terms of action and in terms of the internals, the motivations behind doing it. So that's how we can consider the both things of the service. That way we can think that incompleteness can be there in the execution of the action, and incompleteness will be there in the purity of the intention of the action. So that way we can see both will be incomplete. But when it is complete in terms of form and substance from your side, even if externally the service is not complete, it is pleasing to the Supreme Lord. Or otherwise, what I want to say is that if something is told to us to be done, and we do it with full heart, with right intention and right action and skills, try our best, and we may not be able to complete it, but we strived our best. So that is technically complete. Although externally it may appear incomplete. And that can be understood by the elevated soul who has given us the service. When there is sincere attempt, like Prabhupada, two devotees were sent to Pakistan, and Pakistan, Prabhupada heard something. Prabhupada was so much thinking about them. They just executed the order of Prabhupada without any fear. Although I don't know they could do much there or not, but it was so pleasing to Prabhupada. Prabhupada was crying tears for their dedication, their faith on him. So that way, incompleteness of service can be reflected upon. It's just a reflection what came in my mind, which I shared. Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I have one small clarification.
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, in second chapter of this canto, Narad Muni is called as an incarnation of the Lord. Whereas in all this fifth and sixth, it is said that he was son of the maiden servant, and again he got purified. He got this Bhaktivedanta association. He got purified. How?
Actually, can you be louder a little bit? Because what I heard is this question. You just completed that last chapter. We heard that Narad Muni is avatar of Lord. The list of avatars, I think Narad Muni is mentioned.
Yes, Prabhu.
Third chapter. Yeah. So in this chapter it is mentioned this. What is the question?
Fifth chapter and sixth chapter saying that he was a maiden servant of he was the son of maiden servant, and then by the association of Bhaktivedanta he got married. So this too, the second birth or anything something like that. Can you explain on this more?
Okay, so the thing is this, which Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, that Narad Muni is called Mishra Siddha. It is not Nitya Siddha, means he is not called Nitya Siddha, nor he is called Sadhan Siddha. As we see in the 5th and 6th chapter, he is telling that I was son, and then I progressed to the stages, I attained Prema, and then my mother died, and all these things. So this appears to be Sadhana Siddha. So what Vishwanath says is he is Mishra Siddha. What does that mean? The Mishra Siddha are the Nitya Siddhas who come in the material world and exhibit the sadhana and show that they perfect their life for teaching all of us. That is called Mishra Siddha. So Narad Muni comes in that category. Number two, when you say that Narad Muni is incarnation of Lord, that is Shakti-Avesh avatar. So he is a Bhakti Shakti incarnation of Lord. So he is a Jiva empowered by the Supreme Lord with a Bhakti Shakti to propagate Bhakti, to preach Bhakti and give Bhakti to everyone. So Narad Muni is incarnation in terms of Shakti-Avesh. So I hope this clarifies to some extent what you asked.
Prabhuji, was Prabhupada also like this? Mishra, Siddha and Shaktavish?
See, when it comes to Prabhupada, we can see two things. One thing is Srila Prabhupada personally said to Brahmanand Prabhu, I think, in Mayapur, that, I was there, I never wanted to come. But Krishna forced me to come. And he said, you just go there and write books and I will take care of everything. Prabhupada saying that, so that shows some special thing of Prabhupada. And Prabhupada doesn't write all these things. It was just a casual expression. He didn't make an issue out of it at all. This is one side. And second side, we see Satswarup Das Goswami Maharaj in Lilamrita saying that Prabhupada is Shakti-Avesh, right? So that way we can see this both, So Prabhupada is a Nitya Siddha. That way we can think in that direction. And Prabhupada did say that there was not a single moment when I don't think of Radha Krishna. From childhood, his attractions and his activities are not ordinary. So we can assume surely, and that Prabhupada, based on the things which we discussed. I think two raised hands were there, which I didn't see. I think Anuj Prabhu and one Mataji also. So please go ahead. Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, sorry, I had one more announcement. I just want.
This is Rasabhas, Prabhu. No, not now. Actually, I was not so happy. Actually, see, we are discussing the Bhagavatam. These things should not come so much in between, because it disturbs the flow. You understand what I'm saying? So, yes, I'm sorry to say that, because we have to
inform on WhatsApp,
discussing about.
I'll inform on WhatsApp, sir.
Please do the needful. I'm sorry for that. I think Mataji had raised hand also. Shobha Lakshmi Mataji, you had raised hand or?
No.
No, someone raised. Anyway, with Anuj. Anyway, that's fine. So we continue with our section. Actually, as we are having less time tomorrow, actually only 1 hour. So we will try to complete these 4 verses if possible. They are very important verses, as it is conclusion is given. So I was thinking that we can take some more time today, because next week, tomorrow we'll have hardly 1 hour. Because I have a train at 4:40 from Pune station, so I have to rush from here. 3:30 means I have to leave. So today we will try to little bit go beyond our time to complete this chapter. And so I feel till what time we can go, bro? Means can we go for around till 5? Can we go or till 4:45 or so?
For me, it's fine till 5.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji, till 5 is fine.
5 is fine.
Because tomorrow is a little, actually all the things, my decision of going happened today only. Otherwise, I would have planned before something. So at least till 4:45, all of you can be there and attend the class, and then let us see how it goes. So that is my humble request to all of you. So we go to the last section of this chapter, which is the summary of the entire section actually. Summary of the entire section is given in the chapter, right? So let us begin with this. Yeah. Not just this chapter, actually, this whole conversation, which we call Narada Vyasa Samvada. So having answered all the questions of Vyasa, having instructed him for leaving, relieving him from his dissatisfaction, which was born from apparently inappropriately glorifying Krishna in his so many literatures which he wrote before. And Narada diagnosed it, Narada instructed him, and now he is concluding with the same message again, that what he should be doing. So text 34, very, very important text. So what it is telling? Etad hiyatura chittanam matra sparshechaya muhu bhava sindhu plavo drushto hari charyan varnanam. Yeah, please read.
It is for translation by Srila Prabhupada teacher. It is personally experienced by me that those who are always full of cares and anxieties due to desiring contact of the senses with their objects can cross the ocean of nescience on a most suitable boat. The constant chanting of the transcendental activities of the personality of the Godhead.
Yeah. So what he is telling, etadhi atura chittanam. Etadhi atur chittanam, those who are always eager. Atur is eager. Chitta, who is eager for what? Matra sparsha. Means senses touching with sense objects. This is the pleasure of this material world. When the senses come in touch with sense objects on the material platform and material consciousness. And for that only, everyone is atura for it, whose minds are always full of cares and anxieties. So both parts are there, cares and anxieties. Matra atura chittana. Because all the experiences of this world are through this matra sparsha. So same word is there, matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha. Agama apayino nitya stam tipikshasya bharata. So matra sparsha has to be properly dealt with, because it creates agitation and eagerness and anxiety also at the same time. Because when one gets it, there is eagerness and anticipation, and when one loses it, because by nature it is temporary, there is anxiety and fear and distress. So etad hi achur, when one leaves that object, he wants again. So there is anxiety to attain it again. Etad hi atura chittana. For all such atura chittana who are again and again looking for matra sparsha. The whole absorption is matra sparsha.
The whole endeavor is when I will do Matara Sparsha. It can be anything. It's not just skin touching something soft object, or nose smelling something fragrant things, or eyes seeing something very beautiful form of anything of this world, or tongue wanting to taste different foodstuffs. This is what is going, this is what is all pervading. And there is great aturta, muhu, again and again, always muhu, always in anxiety for touching senses with sense object. For such people, bhava sindhu plavo drushto, for them to cross over this ocean of material existence. Now, plava means a boat. So all of us have heard this analogy of nirdehamadyam sulabham sudurlabham plavam sukarnam guru karnadharam, etc. Where the human body is compared to the boat. Right? And the winds, the favorable winds are like the Vedic scriptures of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya, etc. They are favorable winds. And Karnadhar is Guru. Then that is the best way. But here, same thing is told, but in a more specific way. That not just human form of body, but Bhava Sindhu Plavo Drushto means the best boat to cross over this ocean of material existence is the process of Haricharya, Anuvarnanam. Means what? Process of engagement in bhakti, which is characterized by the chanting of holy names. Basically, this is what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, that the essential anga of bhakti, especially in Kali Yuga, is Kirtana. Right? Among all the 5 potent forms, the highest is Nama Sankirtan. Right? Sadhu Sang Nam Sankirtan Bhagavad Shravan Mathuravasa Shri Murtira Shabdayase. But Nama Sankirtan is highest in them. So to establish the same fact, here Narada Muni is telling by quoting Kirtan only here. Haricharya Anuvarnanam means constant description of Hari's pastime is the best boat to be crossing the ocean of material existence. So now when we say this ocean of material existence, what is this ocean made up of? Yes, what is this ocean made up of?
Birth and death.
All the material desires.
Desires.
Material
objects.
desire of any kind. And
yeah, actually one thing is material objects, but as I think more correctly said, material desires for those objects, because the objects affect us to the degree we have desire for them. If you don't have desire for them, then so many objects can be there, they will not affect us so much, right? If desire is not there. So actually the ocean of, that's why it is said that the whole motion of material existence becomes like a hoof print of a calf for a person who takes shelter of a pure devotee, Samashitaye and serves the Supreme Lord. So what exactly is happening is, this ocean of material existence is in the heart of a practitioner in form of material desires. There are innumerable material desires from millions and millions of lifetimes in this life also. So that all desire starts reducing as one starts practicing bhakti, and eventually it becomes like hoof print of a calf. So some little water remains. So how this happens? By hearing and chanting the glories of the Supreme Lord and engaging in his devotional service. So because desires can change by hearing mainly, and after hearing certainly we want to execute what we hear. So that's how the Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam and all. It begins with Shravana. So that's what is being said here. Haricharyanu Varnanam means when one can do Varnana of Harikatha, when there is someone to hear Harikatha. Otherwise, it's not possible in one sense. Like now, I am trying to do Varnana. Although I am not qualified to do Varnana, but only qualification is instruction. So, I am able to do Varnana. Why? Because all of you are very mercifully, kindly hearing, giving some audience to me. So, this is the process for both purifying, that the desires should reduce. That is the sign of progressing in devotional service. That whether the desires are reduced. That's why in this particular verse, the boat is compared with the process of bhakti characterized by kirtana, varnana, like that. So that's the purport. So Srila Prabhupada also emphasizes on this only, that what is the state currently, how people are eager for touching the senses with the sense objects. So this desires, more once does Shravanam and Kirtanam and Smaranam, then gradually the desires will awaken in other direction. As we discussed earlier, thinking, feeling and willing for one thing, and thinking, feeling, willing for Guru and Krishna and Vaishnavas. So these are two different things. So this is what Prabhupada speaks in the purport. Yeah, please read the purport. Yeah, please read this. The symptom of
the symptom of a living being is that he cannot remain silent even for some time. He must be doing something, thinking of something, or talking about something. Generally, the materialistic men think and discuss about subjects which satisfy their senses. But as these things are exercised under the influence of external illusory energy, such sensual activities do not actually give them any satisfaction. On the contrary, they become full with cares and anxieties. This is called Maya, or what is not. That which cannot give them satisfaction is accepted as an object for satisfaction. No, so Narad Muni, by his personal experience, says that satisfaction for such frustrated beings engaged in sense gratification is to chant always the activities of the Lord. The point is that the subject matter only should be changed. No one can check the thinking activities of a living being, nor the feelings, willing, or working processes. But if one wants actual happiness, one must change the subject matter only. Instead of talking of the politics of a dying man, one might discuss the politics administered by the Lord himself. Instead of relishing activities of the cinema artist.
You can stop now. Thank you. So what is the essential point Prabhupada is telling here is that just change the subject matter. Just do it as an austerity if it appears like austerity. But discuss about Krishna and Krishna related things. That is the only thing which has to be done. Because thinking, feeling, willing cannot be changed. You cannot stop it. You cannot become like stone. This is what is the process of the impersonalists or Mayavadis. They want to stop it. But here Prabhupada is saying no. Prabhupada is saying that you want to discuss politics, no problem. You discuss politics in relation to Krishna. That is in Mahabharata. You want to discuss fight from different Bhagavatam, Mahabharata. So many fights are there. Anything you want, connect it to Krishna. The subject matter has to be changed. So actually, what we think, feel and will only becomes the object of our talk. And that only becomes the object of our action also. So that's why, as this verse is talking about speaking or kirtanam, Prabhupada is going behind it. He's going behind into thinking, feeling and willing. right? And then you talk, and then you act. Actually, this is how anything happens in our life. Everything begins at the level of thought. So Prabhupada is telling that just change that consciously. That's why you see NOI begins with telling the very first urge. What is that urge which is told? The first urge in NOI?
Vacho vegam mansa
Vacho vegam. Right? What is that vegam? That is urge to speak. That is like rudder actually of the boat of this human body. What subject matter you speak, there your body will go. The discussion also will go. So NOI begins with that because that's the most difficult thing to do and most essential thing to do at the same time. So Vacho Vegam. And then again Jiva Vegam is there. That's why this Vacho Vegam is about speaking. Other Jiva Vegam is about eating. But here is about speaking. Again, if you see NOI further, it talks about Prajalpo, right? So that is again about the substance of talk. Because it sucks a lot of time and energy, it creates a lot of disturbances in people who are hearing and speaking about it. The material graph. This is the same instruction which we yesterday heard from Sarvalakshan Prabhu was explaining. And Raghunath Das Goswami was instructed. What was the first thing which was told to him? Gramya varta na shunibe, gramya varta na kohibe. Bhala na paribeyara, bhala na khaibe. And Vraje Radha Krishna, manase koribe, etc. What is the first thing spoken to Raghunath Das Goswami? Don't hear gossip. Don't speak gossip. Just change the subject matter. So actually, it appears very simple, but it's not so simple, actually. Many times, we end up in engaging in wrong talks. So this is a very, very important thing, actually. Because that talk only creates all the other things. Thinking, feeling, willing will change based on talk only. Actually, why we are all sitting here in this course is because of talk only. Some devotees talked about Krishna and we got inspired. That's why we are trying to practice devotional service and we are trying to do these courses, etc. This is all because of sound vibration only, right? So similarly, going further from here also, the subject matter of our talk has to be very clearly introspected every day. Because that is the key, that is the rudder of our ship. What subject matter on which we talk is what we are actually. What we are attracted to, what we are interested in, that's what we will talk. So as an austerity or whatever it is, the subject matter has to be changed. That's why actually the reading the scriptures and Prabhupada books and doing such courses is a very beautiful opportunity for all of us to fill ourselves with the subject matter of Krishna. Then we can talk about Krishna. So it's a very essential aspect of our day-to-day practice, everyday practice. And many of you are already doing it, but I can say that, wherever we are, we can try to increase that and just experience it. So it's a very, very essential aspect that just change the subject matter. And Prabhupada is defining Maya also here, that this is called Maya, that the object which is not giving satisfaction is taken as object of satisfaction. Avastha vastu. No, it has never given satisfaction to anyone in the past, which we read in the scripture. It is never given satisfaction for anyone right now also and in future also. So, but because of our previous impressions, previous experiences stored in our subconscious mind and conscious mind, the mind tends to go there, but it has to be stopped. Thinking, feeling, willing but it has to be stopped at the level of tongue. So that is the austerity. More we do that austerity, more that thinking, feeling, and willing. Willing will reduce to feeling, feeling will reduce to thinking, thinking will go away gradually. So otherwise, it's very, very difficult actually. That's why the morning program becomes the essential aspect of our life as a devotee, not just for a brahmachari. Actually, morning program is life for a devotee. And Prabhupada does say that morning program is for everyone, actually. So we should all try to do this, because morning program only these two things are there. Haricharya and Varna. So either there is chanting the holy names, or chanting the glories of spiritual master, chanting glories of Tulasi, chanting glories of Narsingadev, then hearing the glories from Srimad Bhagavatam, glorifying Srila Prabhupada. So in our places, if we can come to temple, very good. If we cannot come, not possible, we can do some kind of morning program in our home, where these things are core. So then only actually the ocean will reduce. Ocean is already reducing, but it will go on reducing more and more because it's so big. So, and that is cause of all dissatisfaction. So that's why discussing about Krishna is the very, very essential aspect of our day-to-day Krishna consciousness. That's what Srila Prabhupada is very much emphasizing. Again and again, he is saying that just point is that just change the subject matter. Even if you want to discuss about politics of a dying man, discuss in Mahabharata, like that. So, same continuing further, Prabhupada is saying that Lord, about the Lord, he is saying, he does so for benefit of all conditioned souls, so that they can turn their attention to transcendence. So this is about that devotee. Instead of relishing activities of cinema artist, and one can turn his attention to the activities of Lord with his eternal associates like Gopis, Lakshmis, etc. So like that. So why Lord comes, that also is told here by Prabhupada. That Lord appears and performs all these pastimes is for only purpose that today we can discuss about him. That's all. There is no other purpose for the Lord, actually. So this is told by Shri Kunti Maharani in his purport, in his prayers, which we'll discuss eventually after a few days. She tells the most important reason for Lord's appearance is to give subject matter to talk about. That's all. Bhavesmin klishyamananam avidya kama karmabhi Shavana Smarana Arhani Karishan iti Kechana. So she tells so many people, some people say this Lord appeared for this purpose, some people say Lord appeared for this purpose. Brahmaji prayed, Mother Earth was crying, or Vasudeva and Devaki did tapasya. No, but these all reasons are secondary. The most important reason Lord appeared is he gave us the subject matter to discuss. Shavana Smarana Arhani Karishan. Iti Kechan. So this is a very essential thing. And that's what we see in Bhagavad Gita. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo vetti tattvata. So it appears very simple, but we have to put our endeavors in making it important part of our life. Discussing about Krishna with any devotees or new people or anything. Discussing about Krishna, glorifying Krishna directly. So there is direct devotional service, there is indirect devotional service. So this is direct devotional service for which Lord appears. So it's a very essential thing which is told by Narad Muni, and he is saying it's my experience. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that. See, the boat for crossing the ocean is the praising Lord activities. Kirtana. I have directly seen, experienced that. That is, there is no proof necessary, my dear Vedvyas. I have seen these things. I have already, he has so many different kinds of disciples. Right? So that's what he is telling his experience with great emphasis to Vedvyas, that just now you write about the Supreme Lord. Let everyone read Srimad Bhagavatam and discuss Srimad Bhagavatam and associate with Lord Krishna in person. in that. Then this all diminishment will happen. Now next verse, text 35, Narad Muni tells, what about other methods? Because Bhagavatam speaks about Ekanta Bhakti, Kevala Bhakti, Shuddha Bhakti only. And there is everything else is called Kaitava Dharma in very first verse only, right? Or second verse, Dharma Projita Kaitavatra Param. All mixtures. So he is telling, what about other processes? What is the difference? So he says in text 35. Yamadivir yoga pathair kama lovahato muhu mukunda sevaya tathatma nashamyati. Please read the translation.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu.
It is true that by practicing restraint of the senses by the yoga system, one can get relief from the disturbance of desire and lust. But this is not sufficient to give satisfaction to the soul. For this, satisfaction is derived from devotional service to the personality of Godhead.
Yeah. So actually, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur very clearly says, so what is the meaning of this word? Yam Adivir Yoga Patha. Means Yam, Niyam, Asana, or Karma, Jnana, Yoga, different parts. Yoga Pathai. Kama Logha Hato Muhu. Kama and Log go away. But Mukunda Seva Yavat. But Kama and Log will go away by Mukunda Seva also. But what is the difference? Tatha Atma Adha Na Shamyati. By that much satisfaction the Atma will get by Mukunda Seva will not be possible by Yamadivir Yoga Pathair. That's the point here. Means what? Only by pure devotion, which is unmixed with yoga and karma, jnana, will give the complete satisfaction to the Atma. Otherwise, even practice of mixed devotion is also going to not fully satisfy the Atma. Because what is mixed devotion? Mixed devotion also more or less keeps person in material world only. Like we were hearing some days back also from this Buddhakesh Prabhu also. Right? So if we practice mixed devotion, then there is likely that we will disrespect devotees. There is likely that we will, remain in the continue. Like for example, we take example of Indra, but of course he's very exalted devotee. But he has these tendencies which are seen in Srimad Bhagavatam. So mixed devotee, it's very difficult to go back to Godhead because the attractions are there. So this verse is talking about not just those paths in themselves, but it is talking about mixing them in bhakti also will not give that much satisfaction as Ekanta Bhakti will give. So that is what is explanation of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in elaborate purport, which we will not fully discuss, but I told you the message of that. Actually, here you can see. Actually, he tells even destinations. Maybe at least this much you can read, because anyway, here he says actually the destinations. I will show you this slide. So he says that there are three kinds of bhakti. There is Kevala, it's the same purport. Kevala Bhakti, Radhani Bhuta Bhakti, and Guni Bhut Bhakti. So what does that mean? Keval Bhakti means completely pure unalloyed. There is no mixture of jnana, karma, etc. As explained in these verses, like 1:5:17. Previously you read that. That is explained there. The whole explanation of 5th chapter was Kevala Bhakti. All the verses. Because that's what will give satisfaction to Vedvyas. Pradhani Bhut Bhakti means there is a predominance of Bhakti, but there is mixture. And Guni Bhut Bhakti or Guni Bhava Bhakti means there is predominance of Jnana and Karma and Yoga, but Bhakti is not predominant. So you are seeing Bhagavad Gita chapters, and Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur tells about Bhagavatam verses which you learned in 5th chapter. So you can see this. Yeah. So here it is clearly told that what every person will attain actually. This is the process, this is the sadhana, this is sadhana. So that's what is given. But anyway, we don't have so much of time. So we'll go ahead. So Prabhupada actually explains the similar points. So you can read. To check that them, see here, I have this. In the service of the Lord Mukunda, where it is, you are able to see. Anyone can read from that point in text 35.
In the service of the Lord Mukunda, the senses are transcendently engaged.
Yeah.
There is no chance of their being engaged in sense satisfaction. The senses want some engagement. To check them artificially is no check at all, because as soon as there is some opportunity for enjoyment, the serpent-like senses will certainly take advantage of it.
Yeah, so same thing Prabhupada is telling, that artificial control by the mixture processes is not required, because artificial control is never going to help us at the time of allurements. So we have to go to the core process. That is Kevala Bhakti only. That's what Narad Muni recommends. You read that part? Narad Muni, here only it is. Narad Muni recommends, here.
Muni recommends another method for controlling the senses in the transcendental loving service of Mukunda, the personality of Godhead. By his experience, he says that devotional service to the Lord is more effective and practical than the system of artificially controlling the senses.
Yeah, so here what is this more effective and practical? It is not that, it is only possible for pure devotees. No. Sadhan Bhakti means with pure faith we start engaging our mind, body and words with our capacity. So that is more effective and practical. Then system of artificially controlling the senses. That is all other methods. So our methods are not just trying to avoid things, but trying to engage, not to escape, not to enjoy, but to engage in our senses, our mind and our body in service of Krishna. That is more effective and more practical, not artificially doing. Artificial doing, so he gives example of Vishwamitra Muni and all. So they were, but he compares Haridas Thakur and Vishwamitra Muni with them. Yeah. The whole idea is that without devotional service of the Lord, neither yoga system nor direct philosophical speculation can be successful. Pure devotional service of the Lord, without being tinged with fruitive work, mystic yoga, speculative philosophy, is the foremost procedure to attain self-realization. So same thing which I was explaining, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's explanation he is giving. That not just other yoga system, but mixture is also inappropriate for attaining self-realization. So when transcendental devotional service is mixed with subordinate processes, it is no longer transcendental, but it is called mixed devotional service. Srila Vyas, the author of Srimad Bhagavatam, will gradually develop all these different systems of transcendental realization in the text. So these things are there in the 5th chapter. I think you must have discussed. In 5th chapter, there is pure bhakti, which is told from 5 to 22 verses. And then 30, 31, 32, 30 to 35 verses, there is Guni Bhut Bhakti, there is Pradhani Bhut Bhakti also. Karma Mishra Bhakti, Bhakti Mishra Karma. All these things also were told. So Narad Muni instructed him. So Ved Vyas is going to prove it. So now 36, text 36. I think this is the last text, right? One more text. Sarvam tadina akyatam yat prushtoham tvayanaga janma karma rahasyam me bhavatas atmatoshanam. Yes, please read the translation. Anyone can read the translation.
O Vyasadeva, you are freed from all sins. Thus, I have explained my birth and activities for self-realization as you ask. All this will be conducive for your personal satisfaction also.
Yeah, so he is blessing him actually. Whatever you asked, I have explained. Oh, my dear Vedas, you are completely anagha. So this will be conducive for your personal satisfaction. So actually what Narada shared is the most confidential things, the highest truths. He told Siddhanta in 5th chapter and Drishtanta of his own story also, the application and experience of his own life. And so that is what will give satisfaction to Vedas and all of us. So Narada, what he explained everything means this. So Narada shared with him how Narada, Bhakti appeared in Narada, how it's different types, its growth and its result. He showed that. He told about the activity of a devotee, how the destruction of Prarabdha karma happens in case of devotee, how the devotee leaves his body, how one achieves spiritual body. This is called Sarvam Idam. Means there is nothing left to be told actually from the core beginning till the attaining the spiritual body. Sarvam Taditam Akyatam. This is everything which is told. It is called secret because it is not understood by those who study Vedanta. So this is the glory of Bhagavatam. That Bhagavatam is sharing with us Rahasyam at the right beginning only. And this is not known to those who study Vedanta. So how confidential it is and how merciful Srila Prabhupada is, who has revealed to us all these things. So Prabhupada also writes these things in his purport. You can see this last part. Yeah, someone can read this last thing. All the mysteries.
All the mysteries of transcendental realization are duly experienced by Narada Muni himself, and therefore by hearing such an authority, one can have some idea of the results of devotional life, which are hardly delineated even in the original texts of the Vedas. In the Vedas and Upanishads, there are only indirect hints to all this. Nothing is directly explained there, and therefore Srimad Bhagavatam is the mature fruit of all the Vedic trees of literatures.
Yes. So try to understand how glorious is Srimad Bhagavatam, because it is telling the rahasya which is not there anywhere else. So that is the glory. That's why it is ripened fruit. So Narada Muni has showed us how ripened fruit, if you get the seed of ripened fruit, how you get, how you water it, how it grows, what it produces fruit, how one attains spiritual body, everything he has told. So that's what is the most rahasya. So text, last text. Read the translation.
Sutta said, Narada freely moving without material motive, having spoken to Vyasa, the son. Please take upwards, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Okay.
Please take
So
upwards.
thus addressing Vyasdev, Srila Narada Muni took leave from him and vibrating on his Veena instrument, he left to wander at his free will. So Prabhupada also writes a big purport about saying that Yadruchaya. So Yadruchako Muni. So Narada Muni is fully independent to go anywhere and everywhere. So Prabhupada says in the purport, and we can just imagine the extent of unlimitedness of his freedom, which is as good as that of the Supreme Lord. There is no reason for obligation for his traveling, and no one can stop him from his movement. So similarly, see, Prabhupada is saying, association of the devotee is also free. I am just reading the end of this. Yeah. Similarly, here it is very important. Yeah. This. I'm reading this part. Similarly, the transcendental system of devotional service is also free. Where is that? Yeah. It may or may not develop in a particular person even after undergoes all the detailed formulas. Similarly, the association of devotee is also free. One may be fortunate to have it, or one may not have it even for thousands of endeavors. Therefore, in all spheres of devotional service, freedom is the main pivot. So he is just commenting on one word, Yadruchaya. all freedom. He is just wandering. Without freedom, there is no execution of devotional service. The freedom surrendered to Lord does not mean that devotee becomes dependent in every respect. To surrender unto the Lord through transcendental medium of spiritual master is to attain complete freedom of life. So such a powerful thing Prabhupada is writing actually. That everybody wants that only, but that will come by surrendering to Lord. So actual independence, actual freedom is to surrender to Supreme or to depend on the Supreme. So that's what is told, because everyone desires that. So that also desires get fulfilled, completely freedom. So last text 38. All glory and success to Srila Narada Muni, because he glorifies the activities of personality of Godhead. And doing so, he himself takes pleasure and also enlivens all the distressed souls of the universe. So this is the glorification by Sud Goswami of Narada Muni. Sud Goswami is so happy. He is saying, Hari Bol, all glories to Narada Muni, like that. Because he is sharing such amazing things. Yeah. So last line we'll read. No one can be truly happy within the material world. Srila Narada Muni, in order to enlighten the miserable inhabitants, wanders everywhere, his mission is to get them back home, back to God. This is the mission of genuine devotees of the Lord, following the footsteps of great sage. So Srila Prabhupada is also the greatest follower of Narada Muni. So he also did the same thing actually, what Narada Muni did. He also experienced the same thing what Narada Muni is experienced. And most mercifully, Prabhupada is giving us the opportunity to go through the same experience by ourselves. So thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the first canto, 6th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Conversation between Narada and Vyasa. So thank you all very much for your patient hearing. I'm sorry we are already over time, but I was thinking we'll complete this chapter today. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
Thank you.